Big Mike McCarthy is going to be back in Dallas for 2024, people, despite having two really embarrassing playoff losses in back-to-back years. They got blown the hell out by the Green Bay Packers, man, and I don't give a damn what the final score said. You watched that game from start to finish, it was an ass whooping. And even then, the season before that, they lost in embarrassing fashion to the 49ers. And then even then, the first season, Mike McCarthy had a winning year in Dallas. Who did they lose to in the wildcard round? The 49ers. And you see, everybody that is defending Mike McCarthy points out how he's won a division, he's won 12 games for 3 straight years, and that's cool. You feel me? Congratulations to Mike McCarthy for always being able to win 12 games, but this is the problem with Mike McCarthy and why Dallas was wrong to keep this dude around. The expectation for Mike McCarthy is not to win 12 games every year. The expectation every single season in Dallas is to compete for a Super Bowl, and that's something that they have not done since VHS and cassette tapes were out. The last time the Dallas Cowboys were in the Super Bowl, you were watching replays, not in HD, but on those box TVs that have the little yellow, red, and white cords that you have to plug in. You can't even watch the Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl in HD anymore. Unless you go and you watch, like the new updated and revised versions of those things. But Mike McCarthy, I never thought this dude was ever going to be the guy to get Dallas over the hump. You really thought this dude would have been able to get Dallas to the Super Bowl when he couldn't even win another Super Bowl with Aaron freaking Rodgers? Bro, they went 15-1 one season and lost to the New York Giants. Like, are you kidding me? This dude couldn't win with one of the most talented quarterbacks in NFL history. And now we're all surprised that he can't win in the playoffs with the Dallas Cowboys when it matters the most. Like, who cares what he does in the regular season? Don't compare Mike McCarthy to John Harbaugh or Mike Tomlin or anybody else. Like, yeah, you can make the same arguments that a guy like Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh should be fired. Cool, if they lose in the playoffs. But these dudes have had a little bit more playoff success than what Mike McCarthy has. And plus, in Mike Tomlin's defense, he hasn't had anywhere close to the level of talent that the Dallas Cowboys have had with the Steelers. Not making any excuses for him, but if you were to put Mike McCarthy on the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin on the Dallas Cowboys, I'm pretty confident the Dallas Cowboys go way further with Mike Tomlin than how far the Steelers will go with Mike McCarthy. He's not a bad coach. He's a pretty good coach, but there's a reason why the Dallas Cowboys have come up short year after year. I really thought that Jerry Jones was going to move on from this dude. After seeing how devastated and distraught he was during the game and what he said after the game, I was pretty confident he was going to move on. But I guess with his old age, he doesn't want to go on another head coaching search. But you're the Dallas Cowboys. You're the biggest brand in the National Football League. You got a great roster that's ready to win right now. It shouldn't be hard for you to get a guy like a Bill Belichick or Mike Vrabel, or even a Jim Harbaugh. But you see, Jerry Jones is so in control of things, and he always has his hand in the cookie jar, that I do believe that he likes hiring guys that can be yes men. And another thing that people keep throwing at you for why Mike McCarthy couldn't be fired was Dak Prescott had his best season under him. Dak Prescott's the reason why they lost. At the end of the day, like, Dak Prescott may not be a great playoff quarterback, but Dak Prescott has had some good playoff games in the past. If he could have good playoff games in the past, there's no reason why he shouldn't be capable of having them in the future. It really comes down to coaching and execution, and the Dallas Cowboys never look well coached anytime they get into the playoffs. Hell, they didn't even look that good against the best teams that they played against this season. Their best wins this season were against what? The Seattle Seahawks and the Philadelphia Eagles. You got your ass kicked by the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, what's going on? You lost to the Buffalo Bills in embarrassing fashion. Mike McCarthy is not really one of those coaches that is good enough to get you to a Super Bowl. He's one of those coaches that you hire to build up your team, and you can become a consistent playoff team with them, but you're never going to go anywhere further than maybe the wild card or divisional round at best. Like, I like Big Mike McCarthy. You feel me? And him and Dak Prescott have a pretty good relationship. But if you're Jerry Jones, you know that your time as being able to run this team at the level that you're able to run it is coming to an end. And if you're Jerry Jones, I'm pretty sure that he knows that he's not getting any younger. And you would think that he would want to try everything he can to win at least one more Super Bowl in this lifetime. And the fact that he's sticking with Mike McCarthy makes no sense to me. And you can defend this dude saying, well, John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin, they don't get it done in the playoffs neither. But the difference between those coaches is that they're not coaching for the Dallas Cowboys. They don't have, the Dallas Cowboys easily were good enough to win a Super Bowl this year. The NFC isn't that great. Dak Prescott is good enough to win you a playoff game. You see, I don't think the problem has ever been Dak Prescott. Yeah, he does have to play better. I'm not excusing him for playing terribly. Even he said it. After the game, he played like shit. Probably one of the worst games he's ever played. But this dude has success in the past in the postseason. So if he's had postseason success in the past, why can't he have it now? I look at Mike McCarthy. Something about his scheme always gets exposed anytime they play a good team in the playoffs and anytime they play a good team in general. They don't have a lot of impressive wins against good teams as of late. You beat up on Philadelphia. Once you beat up on Philadelphia, they pretty much collapsed. I mean, you beat who else after that? The Seattle Seahawks on Thursday night, who you were barely able to beat. And Dan Quinn, yeah, he's a pretty good defensive coordinator, but his defenses, where are they ever at in big games and big moments? This defense didn't look that good this season. They looked way better last season than what they did this past season. And I get it. Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh haven't won in the playoffs for a while. But these are guys that they're not coaching for the Cowboys. Mike Tomlin has kind of overachieved the last couple of years in Pittsburgh. This was the first year that I truly believe that the Steelers actually lived up to expectations. They won 9-10 games. That was it. Regardless of the QB situation, you get Mike Tomlin and Dak Prescott, God knows how far he could take them. For the people that are defending the Cowboys keeping Mike McCarthy, the expectation is never to win the division or to have a winning record in the regular season. The expectation is a Super Bowl because that's the standard for America's team. And listen, I got no problem with them bringing back Mike McCarthy because I'm going to love laughing at you once again when you get upset in embarrassing fashion in the wild card round next year. I love watching the Dallas Cowboys fail. I really do, because their fan base is so obnoxious every single season. We can win the Super Bowl. We can win the Super Bowl. But at the same time, I also feel a little bit bad for the fan base because they do have the most passionate fan base in the NFL. I don't think there's any fan base in the NFL that has the amount of passion and enthusiasm that Cowboy fans have every season, thinking they have a shot at winning the Super Bowl, knowing damn well that they're going to once again underachieve in the postseason when it comes around, but they still support their team mad crazy. And for that, you guys always have my respect for that. But Mike McCarthy is not it. He's not it. He's good enough to win you. He's good enough to win you the division a couple of times. He's good enough to have you at 10 plus wins every season. But what else comes after that? And we can have that conversation about John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin, but we're having it about Mike McCarthy right now. These guys, Mike Tomlin wasn't expected to beat Buffalo. At least they were able to keep it somewhat competitive at one point. The Dallas Cowboys were expected to beat the Green Bay Packers by at least 7.5 points. They were a touchdown favorite going into this game, and they just got pushed around. Where's the physicality on defense? Where was all of the big explosive plays on offense? This team has way too much talent to be underachieving the way that they did, and the same reason why they didn't win with Jason Garrett is the same reason why they aren't winning anything in the postseason with Mike McCarthy. Y'all seem to forget that Jason Garrett had a couple of really good seasons too. He wasn't just a master clapper when he was just clapping for nothing. There were years when Dallas looked like they could have won it all with Jason Garrett, and they underachieved in the postseason. So the same issue that you have with Jason Garrett is kind of the same issue that is reoccurring with Mike McCarthy. It's just that he's more consistent with it. You're not having those 8-8 seasons anymore. You're having seasons when you are getting into the playoffs, but you're getting bounced out and sent to Cancun as soon as you get there. And in life, you got to take risk. If Jerry Jones really wants to win, you would think that he would fire Mike McCarthy, go after Bill Belichick, go after Jim Harbaugh, go after Mike Vrabel, proven head coaches. Why are you holding on to a guy who couldn't even win with prime Aaron Rodgers? Mike McCarthy couldn't win with prime Aaron Rodgers in the postseason. Many people believe that Aaron Rodgers should have at least 2 more Super Bowl rings on his fingers. But he doesn't because of Mike McCarthy. And we're surprised that Dak Prescott doesn't play good in the playoffs when Aaron Rodgers couldn't even win another Super Bowl with Mike McCarthy being his head coach. Now, Aaron Rodgers didn't make anything easy on Mike McCarthy because of his personality, but you got to ask yourself, why did Mike McCarthy get fired from Green Bay in the first place? And why was he unable to win more Super Bowls with one of the most talented quarterbacks to ever touch a football? You know what they say? There are certain problems that keep revealing themselves about somebody, and when somebody shows you their true colors, you got to believe them. And Mike McCarthy has shown his true colors to the Dallas Cowboys for the last 3 years. And you know what this dude is. He's a good football coach that's going to get you to the playoffs every single season, and you're going to get bounced out either in the wild card or divisional round every single time you make it. And I was really close to coming on here and actually making a segment about how the Dallas Cowboys are actually legit Super Bowl contenders. I'm glad I ain't made that mistake. I'm so glad I didn't make that mistake because they almost had me fooled at one point. But one thing I know about the Dallas Cowboys, there are so many things that aren't guaranteed in life. But the things that are guaranteed in life, one of them definitely is you can count on the Dallas Cowboys doing what the Dallas Cowboys do best, underachieving in the postseason. Unbelievable. We potentially could have the 49ers and the Detroit Lions in the NFC Championship. Isn't that crazy? But yeah, we're not going to get the Dallas Cowboys in there. Like, imagine if Dallas would have beaten Green Bay. Imagine that. They possibly would have been playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, they had a prime opportunity to get into the NFC Championship game this year. It's just, man, I don't know what Jerry Jones keep doing up there, man. I like Jerry Jones. I really do. And a lot of his players like him too. It's just, you just keep allowing mediocrity to transpire for the most recognizable brand in all the sports. It's just, you would think with this being called America's team, you would have the best of the best at everything. And you wouldn't just accept mediocrity. And I think it's even more embarrassing that the Dallas Cowboys have this name of America's team, but every time they get to the playoffs, bro, like, they just look awful. They just don't look prepared. Like, that loss to Green Bay, that ass whooping, I haven't heard from Dallas Cowboy fans ever since that game got started. I haven't. They were talking so much stuff. And like I said last week, that defense was overrated. And don't be surprised if they lose that game if Jordan Love balls out. And he did. He absolutely did. And you can't put it all on Mike McCarthy. Dak Prescott deserves the blame. But Dak Prescott has had some good postseason performances in the past. What has happened now? You got rid of Kellen Moore. Cool. Dak Prescott had his best season ever. But what did you have to show for it in the postseason? Nothing. It just seems like the Dallas Cowboys are just so fixated on being mediocre and just being okay with being okay. Mike McCarthy was a safe hire. It was never a hire that I looked at and was like, yeah, like, this is going to change everything for the Dallas Cowboys. They're finally going to get to another Super Bowl again. We're finally going to be able to see the Dallas Cowboys playing in a Super Bowl that's not just in HD, but in 4K. By the time the Cowboys win another Super Bowl, we're going to have like 2000K. Hell, the resolution is going to be so incredible that it's just like you're right there in action. By the time we see the Cowboys win another Super Bowl, like, leave down in the comment section below your prediction for when the Dallas Cowboys are going to win another Super Bowl, or at least make it to another conference championship game, because my prediction is 2043. The Dallas Cowboys will make it to an NFC championship game when I turn 40-something years old. I'm 20 now, so I still got 2 more decades to go, but I don't see this team going anywhere with Big Mike at head coach.